Village Board of Trustees for the Village of Dansville to order. Would you please stand? Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I'll take a motion to approve the following minutes. Special meeting minutes for December 2nd, 2014. Public hearing minutes, December 10th, 2014. Department head meeting minutes, December 10th, 2014. And the regular meeting minutes, December 16th.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Whitenack, second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Labar. Any comments?
Yes, I do have a comment. On public hearing minutes, I'm listed as being in attendance and being absent.
Okay.
And the motion carried 3-0 to be adjourned. It needs to be modified.
Okay.
Okay, and the other one is a special meeting on December 2nd. I'd like it noted in the minutes that the meeting was arranged and confirmed without my input. And since a quorum was necessary, obviously the mayor and the two trustee dicks must have decided among themselves the details for holding a special meeting. And despite the mayor's angry outburst at me, the pattern continues, and once again, I was not contacted by the village regarding the special meeting.
That's funny because we have your cell phone as being contacted that.
Please give me the information I asked.
I believe you were given that information, was she not, Pat?
I emailed it to you.
And you were contacted, and you were also told that afternoon by Jessica Wissick when you came in to get your mail and
She
stuff.
asked me if I was contacted, and I said no.
She says that you said yes, and that you knew about the meeting, that she had definitely told you about it, for sure.
I'm contesting this if I wasn't sure.
I'm happy to bring her up next time around here and swear her into it.
Yeah, would be-
But, do you have that information, the bill?
Yeah, I believe that bill is in this minutes.
Mm-hmm. The fact of the matter is, you're the one that wanted this, to have a meeting so we could have the, take care of the bills that night.
I
would have thought you might have asked about it.
I believe that was yours.
If
that's right.
991. No, mine's 407.
Have you changed your telephone in the last 4 years?
In the last 4 years, probably. It's
And,
always
well, you
listed-
have to notify us so we know how to get hold of
I
you.
do. I have it on my. I've given the information before.
To whom?
I actually received it.
Maybe it was a previous clerk. It's been quite a while.
She's called you on that number before.
I don't answer. It's not my number.
I don't know, that's what I have, that's what the
And-
mayor
What I-
has.
And 991 was never my phone number.
Well, if you want to just double check through here, like I said, I believe that was the page off the top of my head, but you're welcome to take a look there.
I never did a 991, you said? Never my phone number.
Do you have it still in your Rolodex? Because we compare.
No, it's on my cell phone.
That's all I need for now. Which one was it? On what date?
The day before Thanksgiving. Whatever day that was.
And then as soon as the bill came in for your FOIL request, I had emailed that right off to you as soon as we got the bill.
What was the day before Thanksgiving?
26th, I believe.
Megan, do you have the record of sending her the email?
Yes. Yep, I save all of my emails.
You save them all, right?
Mm-hmm.
not listed in here. And it isn't even the old cell phone that I had like 3 years ago, 3+ years ago. And I know I just did it on FOIL request before. So, and I know I've given it to the office. So I'm not sure where you think this is mine. Some of them are Geneseo, some are Rochester. My exchange was a 919, long time ago.
Well, that's the number I had when we were out campaigning 4 years ago. It's the number that Megan has.
There's still not a 919 in here as well. There's not a 919 number. 991.
Are the other 5 yours? Or were they yours?
The what?
The other 5.
On what date again? I'm looking at different dates. 25th?
26th.
26th.
I believe that was the day
Two for
before
Geneseo,
Thanksgiving.
one for Rochester.
No, what's the number? We're not talking about Verizon now.
This is Frontier.
I mean, we're talking about Verizon. Use your cell phone. It would be on the Verizon telephone listing, not the
It wasn't
Frontier.
It wasn't made from the office.
Yeah, we called from the office
okay.
phone, so it would be on that bill.
Okay.
On the 26th, there's 2 to Geneseo, 1 to Rochester, 1 to Hornell, 1 to Geneseo, 1 to Buffalo. And that's it.
Thanksgiving was the 27th, was it not?
Yeah, right.
The day before Thanksgiving.
Would you like me to grab the number I have in the office and just locate it on the bill?
Yep.
Real quick?
Please do.
Okay, thanks.
'Cause I know I saw that number on the billing.
I would like to recommend that we move on with approval of the minutes as printed, and if there's any notations relative to the minutes, they be included in the minutes they're issued from this meeting, in the interest of proceeding.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Hold on, I guess I'm not clear. You're not taking into account my...
We'll take into account
Well,
in the minutes that come out of this meeting.
no, the minutes aren't going to reflect that kind of stuff. The minutes, your comments are reflected on the recorder. They will not go in the minutes themselves.
But I'm looking for an amendment to
How is that going to
my
amend it?
comment.
What's your proposal for amending it?
I would like it noted in the minutes that I wasn't.
But you weren't here, correct?
I
And
wasn't
isn't that
here.
noted in the minutes, Trustee Criley?
That's true, but the reason why that I wasn't.
Do we always put in the reason why?
Well,
Do we historically typically put in the reason why people aren't here?
if you're not included in the process of even having the meeting...
That is an issue for discussion in this meeting. But what impact does that have on the minutes
Because I wasn't...
as they stand? I understand that. And it's noted in there that you were not present at that meeting. As to the reason why, we can address that, or at least discuss it, at tonight's meeting. We can't go back in time. Let's move forward. Let's get through these minutes and move on with the meeting.
Okay, I'll say again, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed, no.
Mayor's and I as well, so that's 3-1. Okay, we have no privileges of the floor this evening. Mayor's comments, correspondence. Last week, we did not have a quorum, so there was no business conducted, although we did go forward with a meeting of sorts, unofficial. The Downtown Partnership Program information was handed out at that time. If you haven't picked it up since, it should be in your folders this evening. Likewise with Main Street Grant, Improvement Grant. There's also a Livingston Development Group annual reporting meeting, a little announcement on that. Also, last week, Mr. Bondi spoke about assistance for persons with dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's diseases, and asked if we could do something about that, which we put some contact information on the website. They can contact him, anyone that is any veterans who are interested in seeking services. Also, the Department of Public Service for the state of New York. You should have some information in your folders regarding reforming the energy vision. There's also a document there, had some information I received from the Public Service Commission. That's an order granting, in part, a petition to modify the electric safety standards. Also, the department head budget session, just as a reminder, is tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 here in my office. Those are okay, and then also there's some more information in there from EFC on our change orders that we did. I think it's number 2 and 3, as well as the engineering agreement amendment number 1 that we did for MRB. Under committee reports.
Before we move on, can I comment once?
Certainly can.
I think what we agreed to on the budget session is to schedule it for 2:30, and then if I'm available earlier, I would call and let you guys know. Remember
Okay.
that?
Is that what we agreed to? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, 2:30.
I didn't have it written down, so I asked Megan. She thought it was at 1:30. That's when I thought it was. But that's fine.
And I will let you know tomorrow
Okay.
so if we can do it earlier. Everybody seemed to be in agreement with that anyways.
Okay, under committee reports. So we don't have any of the public safety folks here this evening. Why don't we just go ahead with that anyway, Trustee LeBaron, we'll wait for Megan to get back up before we do the legislative.
Okay, as the mayor's just noted, Code Enforcement Officer Tammy is not here. I believe she's still on vacation.
Yep, she will be for this week.
We do have her report on file for the most recent month. We did, at the department head meeting, discussed what action, if any, to take on a house located at 61 Franklin Street. Has some constructional issues with it. I'm not sure. Are we going to continue that discussion now or wait till?
I think we should.
I think
I
maybe.
think the last conversation we had was for me to do a little neighborhood survey to see what the
Right.
Yes.
consensus was down there. I still need to finish that up.
Okay.
And go from there. Just to get a feel for what the neighbors think, and then we can kind of decide what's our best avenue for securing it in some form or fashion that still leaves us the ability to maintain the yard and things, because that's probably not going to change. I think
Got it.
there's been, I think we voted something like that, somebody else has voted, neighborhood, has maybe voted a couple of times. So, finish contacting neighbors down there and see what their take on it is. Hopefully, maybe I might invite them tomorrow afternoon.
For those that weren't here, just as an update, there's a front porch that wraps around the house, and there's 2 columns that are down. The railing is falling down, and the roof, at least as of when they took the pictures, was kind of at an angle down towards the ground. So there is a safety/liability issue. More safety at this point, and obviously liability at some point. So we're discussing here amongst ourselves what we can do as a village to secure it or try to make it as safe as possible. Oldfield versus Village settlement.
Well, that's when I received a telephone call last week from our attorney. Actually, it's an attorney for the insurance company. This goes back to the, we'll be back before during Barry Haywood's term of office, probably his last term, where he had the department inspection law was overturned, and as a result of, I believe it was Mike Oldfield's petition, and that has been wrapped up, unbeknownst to a lot of us, in court for the last several years. Nearly, I would say about 8 years now. And they have reached a settlement. It's confidential in nature at this time, although it hasn't been printed out at all. I haven't seen all the details to it. Of course, if anybody wants to, once we have it, and somebody wants to foil it, they can. But unless that's done, it will remain confidential. So until we got something in our hands, it doesn't matter anyway. Because we don't have to produce anything we can hold. That's it.
Now, we are still conducting apartment inspections, so
Yeah. What happened on that is after that law was thrown out, an attorney, and I don't know who this was, I think it was somebody in the city at the time who was representing us, rewrote the law so that it wouldn't be onerous upon the landlords. The issue at hand is if you've got rotating occupants in your tenants in your apartments, that's $15 or was $15 every time. Now it's only required after a 6-month lapse. So in other words, if you rotate somebody every week, you only pay it once. And until 6 months have elapsed, you don't have to pay it again.
okay.
Now if you have stable tenant, then maybe years. Well, I guess the law also says with it also every 2 years. So. And we were told that that was in that form it was legit, but nobody's challenged it yet. I'm supposing. Okay.
Any questions on code?
I do have a question. Back in July, we received a copy of this notice of violation for a property, and it listed all the things it was in violation of, and then it said that if it wasn't completed by August 15th, that further action would be taken, and I believe further action has been taken. I was just wondering if you could give us an update on that.
What property are you talking about?
On 247 Main Street.
Oh, down the corner of Morrison, Maine. There was,
Oh, that's Robin's brother.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the homeowner's done some work on it to try to bring some of it in compliance, and I think he succeeded in some aspects, but I think there's still obviously some things outstanding. And I know he was working on it right up till the weather changed, and some of that work now is kind of stalled due to the weather. So now it's a matter of following up exactly what's been complied with, what hasn't been complied with, and then pursuing the things that are still in violation. So I'll get with Tammy when she gets back and update the violations and see what we still have and what needs to be chased down still.
I thought before you told us that something had been done.
I can't comment on that. to be
No, there was a
honest with you.
water
I
issue.
know, we
water
discussed
bill
it.
issue there.
I remember
Water
that.
issue.
Right.
But what the current status is or what's been done other than what Charlie just shared, I cannot comment on that, but I'd be more than willing, Charlie, myself, or the mayor to certainly bring this up to Tammy when she returns from vacation and find what the current status is and the path forward.
How many others are in violation? Do we have a lot of these? I mean,
You have
we
to
just
ask Tammy. Don't keep a track on that every day.
Is there a reason she gave it to us and only one of them to us, or are there a lot of them? I mean,
Well, I think
I don't think there's a lot of them.
No, I think what it is when you reach a point where it looks like the next step is court action.
Right.
Then there's a potential that there could be attorney's fees. So if she drops it off on the board to say kind of FYI,
Yep.
you may find yourself having to pay an attorney to pursue this when it comes to actually handling it in court. So that's just kind of a heads up so you folks can say yay or nay to spending the money on an attorney.
In this particular case, the individual had been unemployed for a considerable period of time. He had built up a debt as far as water and sewer went, and plus these other issues. The water and sewer has since all been paid, so he's current with that as far as I know, and he's done some work with this, but couldn't give you a complete update on it at this point in time without Tammy.
I think also since the homeowner was in violation at one point, it's our responsibility to continue to follow up on until that homeowner is in compliance. So we'll check with Tammy and get an update from her and see what we need to move forward. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for code?
I think that's all I have.
Nobody here from fire department. We've got noted there financing new pumper / rescue truck.
That's just on air as it's an open issue.
Yep. Yeah, we all been privy to that discussion. We know what the current status is, and I'm assuming until there's a need for additional discussion, it'll remain on the agenda. Just comment that we did receive their monthly report, and that there's nobody here representing the fire department this evening. See if I noted anything from the last meeting. No. Okay. Ambulance company, I also did not see anybody here in attendance representing the ambulance company. I had noted at the department meeting that there was no report submitted. Has that changed, Megan?
No.
Okay, we still not, we are still are not in receipt of a monthly report from them. There was a comment made, I'm just sharing this with other people here, at the department meeting that the incentive program has been reinitiated, and at least verbally, Jerry had mentioned that the coverage has improved. And they also commented about their Explorer program. They have 4 members, 2 males and 1 female, and that's progressing well. Anything to add to that? I think that's pretty much where we're at without having representation here this evening. Pat, do you have any questions?
No, if I'm...
Well, you did.
Thank you.
Police Department, we do have a representative. Chief Charlie.
So I provided a report from last week. Business is brisk, as I said. We've had a variety of things going on. Past weekend is no different. Just, I say simple things, but they're annoying to the neighborhood. We had quite a handful of the DWI over on Saturday night. We had another probable DWI that flipped a car on Elizabeth Street and ran from the scene. A host of stuff. Woman trying to break into her apartment to get her husband with a hammer. Just the standard stuff. There's a note on here about updating the traffic monitoring. We've got the instrument from the sheriff's office, so we'll be putting that on Knox Street. I got it in the holidays and decided that was kind of a silly time to get it because that's kind of fictitious traffic flow since school's not open or anything else. And then picking the right spot over there for us so we can catch east and westbound traffic. So we'll get that up here in the next few days and be able to have some readings as to what the traffic flow is over there and what the speeds really are and things like that. You got I think I gave you a copy of the DWI funding in your thing there, so it worked out pretty good. Good, better in between. I guess the goods and the bads are, as far as the PDs go, sadly we led the PDs and DWI arrests. That's just one of those things that can be up and down and all over the place. We had 35 DWIs out of the 275 that were arrested across the county. The DWI refund money, whatever you want to call it, that the state throws back through the county to us, provides us with $19,000. Historically, we've used towards the purchase of patrol cars to try to keep the taxpayers' responsibilities for police cars down as much as we can. So that's a pretty good amount of money there towards a police car. If the board chooses to use that for that purpose, as we have in the past. Other than that,
Was there discussion at some point, Charlie, about having a higher percentage of the actual funds that come into the county be available to the local police departments, and what's the status? What's the likelihood of anything happening there?
The new sheriff was extremely helpful on that. He put the invitation out to us, something we'd asked for many, many, many years, for really a detailed breakdown. And he did that for us. And the only chiefs that were interested apparently in going was myself and Chief Osganian from Geneseo PD, but we learned a lot. And it would appear there's a couple of things occurring with that. And one is that the court systems across the county are not necessarily all real diligent on collecting the fines. So the funding is a little sporadic as to maybe what should be taken in and what actually is taken in, because keeping up on the violators and making sure they pay their fines. And the state has provided an opportunity now, I don't know if it's an opportunity, provided a different direction that the courts can go and they can turn some of these fines into civil penalties, which doesn't help that program at all because these folks just don't pay. They're not going to pay until they go to apply for a house loan or something like that, and then this lien shows up on their record. And then if they still want the loan, then they've got to pay these penalties off, whatever they may be. But a lot of folks we're dealing with aren't necessarily real financially oriented individuals, so they just never pay the bill. So, matter of fact, even at Law Enforcement Council today, the topic came up again about having a conversation with the Magistrates Association and probation, and in some cases parole, about what options are there for us to make sure that these court fines are paid so that this money gets redistributed in the directions it should. So that overall piece of the pie that the police department split, which is for the PDs, the 6 police departments, from Nunde to Caledonia and everybody in between, that $45,000 is probably, for the short term, probably going to be about the maximum amount for us to split amongst ourselves.
Right.
If Geneseo goes out and has a year where they make unusual number of DWI arrests, basically that's going to hurt Gainesville,
Yep.
and vice versa. It is what it is, and it was a good explanation. I walked away comfortable with the understanding of what was spent and where it's spent. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at for right now.
Did they increase the percentage of the total amount that would go to the PDs?
No, right now that's staying at 45.
Okay.
And when you get down through that entire breakdown of what's spent where, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. So that 45,000 is what the PDs are going to split. The PDs on a whole made 82? 82 of the arrests out of, I think the total was 275. I think the state police made 45, and the sheriff's department made whatever the balance that is, 120 or something like that. So the sheriff's department's at about 120, the state police in the county are at 45, and the PDs as a whole made 82, of which the Dansville PD made 35 of those. So it was kind of a, I don't know how you want to look at it. It's too bad we had that many arrests to make, I guess.
It's nice to see that the total calls went down from, they increased this from 319 of December last year to 351 this year, but the number of arrests decreased.
For the month, but for the year.
For the month, that's right, by 25% in December, that's good. And the arrests went down also accordingly by about 25% from December of last year.
Yeah, I would guess that
That's
probably.
a positive.
Yeah, for the month it's positive. For the year it's depressing because I'm sure it's over for the year. I don't have that information right in front of me. I think we probably charged 1,300 people with 1,600 offenses. I'd have to get, what I'm doing, great, as a matter of fact, the state's coming down to do their study, or start their study next Thursday, so there's some year-end tallies they want. I'm trying to put together now for them. That'll be one of them. Yeah, so for the month, a little dip for the month, but for the year, not so much.
Anything else? Okay, Village Court, we do have the monthly reports from our 2 justices have been submitted, and they're on file for anybody to look at. And unless there's anything else for public safety, that brings us to the end.
Okay. I'll mention the court audit down below.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Jumping back up then to the legislative. Do we have an action items list update, Megan?
A little bit. I didn't put anything in your folders. I ran out of time. I think I may have emailed something. You'll have to remind me if I did or not. For myself, I still have outstanding summarized year-end financial projections summarize options for fire truck financing, and produce written recommendations from Brian McElroy. That is on his punch list. He's working on it. I did scan the water and sewer laws. I scanned the employment manual as requested. Scott, on your punch list, you had show Bill Futner the water filtration plant blueprints. And then Pat, I have put together information on criteria for animal control and cost per budget. I did make a note since last month that Mayor Vogt had followed up with an email on December 18th with responsibilities, qualifications, and recommendations. And then all I had gathered from last week that I still need to add an email to all of you is Charlie was going to check with the neighbors on a falling house. And Scott was going to put together sidewalk costs and a mowing report. So I will add that. I think that's it, unless you guys can think of something on this from last week.
Trustee LeVar, I just wanted to ask you, there is a picture of a house on Franklin Street with a porch.
Yeah.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Okay, is someone living in there?
No.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's abandoned, or empty, I should say.
Okay.
Yep.
The trustees weren't here last week. Tammy, before she left, did run down eventually the people who hold title to that. It's a mortgage company out of Colorado. And it was a rather involved processor, but the process finding out who owned it, but she did. And she has sent them letters notifying them of the violations. And hopefully sometime in the near future we'll see some action down there, but I wouldn't hold your breath.
Yeah. I've already seen some action.
But there are some things we can do, but the board will have to decide on that at another time when if and when we hear back from this company. That's all I had on that.
We're going to be in a situation where, like we was with the shoe factory, to secure that property.
We could be. The problem is, once we go on there and start doing something, we become liable.
Oh, I know. Yeah, well, are we liable now?
No, the company that owns it
Okay.
is liable.
Okay.
But the minute we step foot
Yeah,
on it,
right.
we are.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean somebody wouldn't necessarily sue us failing to enforce the code.
Right.
But we're attempting to, so I don't know what kind of an argument they would have.
Okay.
There is a process. When Tammy went to that school back last summer that Nikon put on for abandoned, foreclosed properties, I think it was late summer. They had a person there from Ithaca who was telling about the process that you have to go through. And they've been generally successful over there, but there is an issue. You give them so many months to take care of the problem, and then I think it's at 6 months we could technically take it if they don't do anything to it. But usually what happens is that mortgage company or bank will then sell that mortgage to somebody else, and the process starts all over again.
Yeah, right.
And along with all of the attorney fees and everything. So if you do something like that, you're going to have to pick and choose
Yeah.
judiciously.
Yeah.
Make sure that you aren't wasting your time and trouble.
Have we sent an official correspondence from the village either to the company or to their attorneys with pictures and
I don't know if we
see
sent
what
the
type
pictures.
of response we get?
We did send a letter,
Send a letter?
yeah,
Okay.
to both the lawyers and the company. The lawyers here in the immediate area, up in Rochester.
We may want to at least consider sending pictures. I mean, they kind of tell the story.
Yeah.
I'd have to check.
I'm not
She
sure.
may have done it, I just don't know.
Okay. Okay. I'm not sure the response will be any different. It probably won't be, but, due diligence and the picture kind of says it all.
Yeah. Jane.
I guess there's a hole in the roof too, so, or at least the roof leaks.
That's to submit that as myself.
Okay. Anything else on the action items update?
No.
Okay. Fire truck financing, it's just a duplication. We'll skip over that one. Review and rewrite the water and sewer laws and employment manual. I will be hopefully starting on that soon. I already got in there the budget session again. And we do have an item here, alcohol license waiver for the Old Madrid Bar and Grill. Did you include that, any of that information last week?
Last week I did.
Yeah, you should have it in your folder.
And that's just to waive the 30-day notice.
This is something, we actually did it once before so they can
Yeah.
continue on with their
Right.
business.
Right.
There's, the chief has spoken that, or did last week, that there are no problems coming out of the Old Madrid. No reason why we shouldn't go ahead and allow them to continue operating until their actual license, I guess, comes back.
I'll make a motion that we waive the 30-day waiting period for the alcohol license for the OM Bar and Grill.
Okay. Have a motion by trustee Labar to waive the 30-day waiting period for the Old Madrid Bar and Grill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Whitenack. Discussion? Okay. Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Motion passes 4-0. Okay. Something that Megan and I were talking about last week was there's some issues, obviously, the accounting on the medics, the way it comes in. And we were talking about the possibility of just opening up a separate fund, like water, sewer, general fund. And that for budgeting purposes, since this money is only focused on ambulance and related issues, those line items would be moved into that budget. So there would be actually a revenue and a expenditures or appropriations. We just had to find out, because one of the issues that I thought up was we got the fire truck. If we use that money to help pay for a portion of the fire truck, or did, can we do that if it's in a different fund? Just legalities to it we just need to check on, but that's something we were entertaining. You want to mention any more about that?
I don't have any information from when you and I talked the other day. I believe that it is an option. I do need to look into it further. I'll be doing that soon. We've been working for a long time on combining, because it had been kind of treated as a separate fund in the past, but was still part of the general fund budget. So we've been working for a long time to finish combining it into the general fund. I do think that it's in the village's best interest for us to separate it out if we can, but like the mayor said, we need to check into the legalities.
I think it'd be a good idea.
See, the problem with that, when you budget for it, that money's is designated for a specific purpose. So when you throw it into the general budget, it makes the budget look bigger than it actually is as far as the revenues go. And we need to get away from that.
Right.
Like we do with water and sewer. Their revenues take care of them, and general takes care of general. And I think anything has to do with the ambulance ought to be in a separate fund if we can do it. It'd just be a whole lot easier, I think, on the accounting.
I think it would be doable. I think it would be a good idea to get separated out of
That's just, something we were talking, I think it was Friday after, or it's Thursday.
Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. Friday before the budget session, or after it. It was a long afternoon. Okay. So, moving right along then, unless there's other questions under legislative.
Actually, one more thing, under the police department, update on Knox Street traffic monitoring.
Yep, the chief reported on that.
there.
Go ahead, redo that.
Yeah, so I've got the radar instrument downstairs, and I didn't see any point, after I thought about it, no point really putting it up during the holidays because it's a fictitious traffic flow because there's no school traffic, school buses, so on and so forth. People are out of town shopping, what have you. So now it's a matter of just getting it up now that things are relatively back to normal as far as people's daily activities now that the holidays are over. So I'll pick a day here. Hopefully we'll have a little above freezing weather, and I can go out and strap that thing up and get it running. It's a little bit of an awkward thing. So I'll get that strapped up and get it running and see what we got here in a month.
What period of time are you going to do it? What length of time?
Until they ask for it back, I'm thinking, it might, until the battery dies, and then I'll flip batteries and start it off again, and I think they say the battery lasts every 5 days, so I'll flip-flop the batteries for, I guess, until we're bored of it. In the meantime, when I flip the batteries, I'll pull the data box and have it taken over to the sheriff's office and let them calculate it out and give us their nice little readout as to what everything says, and we'll do it till we're bored, I guess. Once it's up, it's up.
So the county analyzes that data?
Yeah, they just run the program on whatever it collects in its memory there and spits out the paperwork.
Do we have the option, if we wanted to, Charlie, say we were satisfied with the length of time over there, to put it in another location?
Yep, that's what I'm hoping for. Until they ask for it back, I'm just going to bounce it around town. If someone's got an interest in a particular street, let's have fun with it and see what it says.
So if you're going to put it other places, how long do you plan to leave it on that street?
Probably a couple weeks anyways. If the weather was unusually nasty, maybe that would go longer. Just trying to get a better, more realistic reading.
Okay, thank you.
There's nothing else then with legislative. Move on to budget, finance, and audit. We have no budget modifications for this month. Under special billings in the general, make a motion to approve Osborne, Reed, and Burke attorney fees, $4,937.15. MRB Group, Floodplain Eval, Part 1, $1,846. Wastewater Treatment Plant Capital Project, and that should be as lowercase a. MRB Group Engineering Services, $55,725.70. Bernard Donegan Financial Management Services, $4,413.04. McCarthy Tire for towing, $1,840. Lakeland Concrete Products, Strong Blocks, $9,055. Teledyne Instruments Sampling Machine for $11,778.78. TNR Spill Response, Emergency Spill and Hazmat Services, $8,593.08. And Heritage Crystal Clean, Removal of Ferrous Oxide, $2,474.50. Under Housing Rehab, we have Cassidy and Underwood payment to contractor for work at 22 Van Campen Street, $13,600. Cassidy and Underwood payment to contractor for work at 50 Liberty Street, $13,800. Toma Development, program delivery contract, $12,000. And for Toma Development Administration, $205.96. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Whitenack. Discussion?
Could you explain the housing rehab grant payments to the contractors and how the money comes back?
That's all administered by Toma.
Okay.
We just fill out the paperwork, send it in, and then it's all done through Bernie Toma's operation.
Once it's approved, I'll sign off on it. I'll send it back to them. They'll submit it to the state, and then within 7 to 10 days, I should see it show up in our bank account. And then I will cut the checks, and the mayor signs them.
But in the meantime, we pay the contractor.
We won't pay them until the funds come in.
Okay. Okay, trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
trustee Labar,
Aye.
trustee Criley,
Aye.
and mayor's an aye. Motion passes 4-0. Under general billings, we paid checks number 14,331 through 14,353 for a total of $35,045.35. We audited checks in the amount of $108,661.30. Under water, we paid checks 426 through 461 for a total of $368, or $368,223.34. Audited checks in the amount of $371,475.48. And under sewer, we paid checks number 356 and 376 through 385 for a total of $415,875.75. And we audited checks in the amount of $432,727.18. Make a motion that we approve these items. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Labar. Discussion? Hey, trustee Criley?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Motion passes 4-0. Under band and bond payments for December, January, we had none. MedX billing account payments, invoices not received. What's that actually mean, Megan? When you say invoices not received?
I hadn't received the invoices via email last month, but I did receive it this month. So I'm not sure if it just didn't copy over.
Okay. Anyway, we have following payments. Livingston County EMS, January payment of $4,050. For MedX, we have invoices, invoice 2015-1 for $1,225. Village of Dansville, December payment of $4,048.24, and for Dansville Ambulance, December payment of $6,072.36. I'll move that we approve these items. May I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Whitenack. Discussion? Okay. Trustee Whitenack.
Aye.
Trustee Labar.
Aye.
Trustee Criley.
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Motion passes 4-0. Okay, and I believe that is it. Hey, Public Works, Trustee Whitenack.
Okay. Well, Scott, do you want to?
Yeah, the first item, I guess, for discussion and a vote would be on the pine screen replacement that Bill from MRV filled you guys in at the last meeting. Actually, I don't have the paper. I think it was around $7,000.
Yeah, I think it was 69 change or something like that. Right. And I would like to, propose that we purchase the screen.
That's to replace the current screen, correct?
Yeah,
It's
right.
actually not the screen.
It's the arrangement, the
Right,
clean
yeah.
out.
Right,
$6,900.
right.
I guess at this point, Rusty is backed away from removing the screen for shipment, so if I'm called and said, I guess at this point we'll have to do it. This is really not Rusty's obligation,
Right, yeah.
so we'll have to remove it and clean it and get it on a pallet for shipment.
Right.
Just for information, the fine screen is in fact a screen that's at the front end of the influent of our sewage flow coming into the plant, and that catches a lot of the big bulk items and allows I shouldn't mention big bulk items, but a lot of the items coming in that shouldn't be there, but still somehow manage to find themselves in the sewer system. And then it allows the stuff that will be processed, the sewage, to go on through into the system. Unfortunately, we've had some problems with the current system that where it doesn't allow some of the sewage to go through, and it becomes a big mess. Some of it won't go through just because of the nature of the obstacles it will be collecting. I'm trying to be nice about this. It's not a pretty sight, nor a good smell.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, it goes up, it gets collected, and it is pumped up into a bucket, or dumpster, eventually probably, and then it's carted away. Right now it's creating a mess down there unnecessarily, and supposedly the replacement of the screen plus the new system for cleaning it out, the well itself, will make this a little bit better operation, more efficient,
Right.
more tolerable for the fellows down there. So, 6,900, Scott?
Yep.
Okay. So I entertain a motion then, I don't believe we put it down below, for the fixing up of the well. To allow for the clean out. It's a grading system, right? Where they'll,
It's actually the compactor part of it.
Part of it.
Modify,
Mhm.
add a section.
it's to modify anyway that particular area around that pump. I'll make a motion.
Yeah, oh, I thought I made a motion.
Did you make it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I missed it. Yes, you did. Anyone like to second that?
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Okay. Discussion? Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee LeBar?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. You all should have a copy in your folders, and there's no action required on the board's part at this time. On the PESH report, discussed it a couple times.
Yeah, Dave he was working on some railings and things today,
Mhm.
so we'll be in good shape with that.
Has the deadlines for each item. A lot of them have already been taken care of. Several were taken care of actually the day the man was here, so indicates. Okay, Scott, do you want to talk about the intermunicipal agreement with the county?
Yeah, basically, I just received, or I guess Pete received an intermunicipal agreement with the county. It's the first time that I know that. I don't
First
think that
time
we
4
had-
years, oh, you've been here.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anything in our file, so it's just basically, it's kind of like a rental agreement, if you will. Basically, it would allow us to go down and use county equipment and pay the fee that they have listed. I didn't supply all that information, but they have labor and all their equipment. And then we do the same. We list our equipment and put a rate on it also. So if they wanted to borrow or rent our equipment. I think more of an emergency than anything else if something happened. That way we can cover either way. So that's pretty much what it is. It's also employees too. We list the employees. Like if we wanted to let, say, our dozer go with an employee, we would give them that rate. There's a lot of county equipment they'll only let out with an operator. You know, just go down, like their dozer, see it has an operator. So that's pretty much what it is.
You recommend we go ahead and sign this off?
I don't see a problem doing it.
Okay.
I think we
I
should.
think it's a good idea. Yeah.
You get to buy and you need something in a hurry.
Mhm.
Right.
I'll entertain a motion to authorize me to sign the agreement with the county.
So moved.
All right, Trustee Whitenack. Second?
Second.
Second by Trustee LeBar. Discussion?
The only thing I don't see here is a rate schedule. Is that something that they publish or make
I
available?
have it, I can give you a copy. I don't have it with me tonight, but there was another 10 pages with that, so I...
As long as you got it, I'm fine.
I have it.
I don't need to see it.
Yeah. If you want it, it's available.
I just wanted to ask the question, Scott. I'm good. Nope.
Actually, could we have ours as well, and both of them?
I can copy it when we're all finished and give it to you.
That'd be great, thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, Trustee Whitenack,
Aye.
Trustee Labar,
Aye.
Trustee Criley,
Aye.
the mayor's an aye. Passes 4-0. Just as an update, we had our pre-construction meeting for the composting facility. It went fairly smoothly. There was one contractor, for whatever reason, wasn't able to make it, but the other two were here, including the general contractor. So you seen hide nor hair or anything of them yet? It'll probably be another month yet before we see anything really happening down there. And they're saying, what, by May sometime? April, May?
When they finish? Or
Finish.
Yeah, May.
Mm-hmm.
Middle of May.
It'll take them a little while to get everything up and ready to go. Okay. We need to set a date and a time for a special meeting on the floodplain study. And then this could also be during our regular, not our regular meeting, but our next department head meeting. Bill and Tom, or Tom anyway, and what's the other fellow's name? There's another.
I'm sure there's another guy.
There's another guy involved in it who was going to come this evening, but they forgot to tell Bruce not to come tonight. He showed up.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't too happy.
Sorry, Bruce.
But anyway, the reason I didn't want to do it tonight until the board had an opportunity to look it over. Just because of the nature of the topic. It's really a high visibility issue, and it needs to be, I think, absorbed by the board before we go into the public realm with it. Now, that doesn't preclude people from coming to any of our meetings, obviously, but I would prefer that the board at least have a chance to see it. So as soon as I get some information, I'll get it to you.
I think Paul, if we try to do the meetings together, we could do the floodplain at the next meeting, but Paul couldn't make the next department head.
Yeah, it's either we do it at the department head meeting, or as we had discussed, was to hold it the week before, if everybody can make it, so that we could do both Paul and, that's Paul Bringawat,
Right.
and this session as well. Paul has started work, and he said he should have it done by the end of the month.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. Nice.
So I have a special meeting the first Wednesday.
Now, let's see, it should be February 4th. Should be able, yeah, so we can do that if everybody's available.
That'd be okay with me.
Dick,
As far as I know, yeah.
how about you, Pat?
February 4th,
Yes,
what day is it?
it's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
What time?
Oh, we could do it at our regular time if you want, 7, or you want to go earlier. Doesn't matter to me.
Let's see what Pat has to say.
February 4th at 7 would be fine.
If that's okay with everybody, then I'll get a hold of Bill
Okay, 7?
or Tom or whoever up there wants to run. And then I'll get a hold, you want to get a hold of Paul on that?
Yep. I can get a hold of Tom if you want to.
Okay. Just let him know. 7 o'clock on the 4th. Okay. Let's see. You should also have some documents in your folders on the substantial completion by Crane Hogan. Have you had a chance to look at that, Scott?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I believe it's something I have to sign off on, so,
I mean, hopefully MRB has approved it, that's why it's here, so.
yeah. I don't see that as a big time-sensitive thing. We could probably wait till next meeting. I'll check with them on that, but if we had to, we could do it at the meeting, at the special meeting. That's only, 2 weeks away. Okay. You got anything else, Scott, for...
Yeah, I did
property he was in.
The sidewalks are, the last page is the estimate for the sidewalks.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little hole in our sidewalk program, look at that. I know you're dying to look at it.
This is the lawn mowing.
Yes.
If you had to put a rate on the 172 hours, Scott, what would you use?
Probably $30 an hour for fuel and equipment, wall,
Yeah.
maybe a bit higher, 35 maybe. And there are a lot of neighbors that are pitching in and mowing these properties. Amazing.
On the front page, 246 Main, November 14th. Is that the correct number of hours? Or is that a...
Yeah, that's when they did all the leaf pickup and everything.
Okay.
That's the private Maury in Maine. Anything else, Scott? I got any questions, Scott?
Can you just work through this sidewalk sheet you gave us? Just run through the numbers and... 60 feet of sidewalk,
Yeah, this is,
all of last year?
pardon?
The 60 feet?
No, that's what 60,
That's what it would cost if you wanted to put in 60 feet, okay.
And that's kind of an average, most of the homes in the village, around 60 feet.
Okay,
So you just go down through the removal, that's what
Mhm.
it would take to remove the sidewalk. The next one where it says form, to form it up and get it ready to pour. Then pour it, finish it, remove all the forms, and then topsoil it. That's the work it takes to do a sidewalk. There's a lot involved.
yep.
And you can see the cost is,
It's good information. Thank you.
good information, but I don't know how good. Look at the dollar.
Well, no, I think it's valuable. The people need to understand that, what it actually costs. Now, they just see we say we're going to put out X number of, per block, when it really doesn't come anywhere close to even 50%. So they're getting a real good deal on that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not even 25%.
Mhm. But we've always been saying it was half and half.
Well, I would say
We-
they just pay for the concrete.
Yep.
That's
Right,
pretty much how it works out.
right.
But for every 60 feet of sidewalk, it costs the village almost $2,000. Wow, that's all that. Another thing
Well, a lot of
is-
it's in labor, that's the
They
issue.
haven't bought much
Right.
concrete.
What's that?
I say haven't bought much concrete lately either, so,
I didn't add up the total footage this year,
yeah.
Yeah, that would be...
but the one year we did close, I think we've done a couple miles of sidewalk.
Oh, yeah, right.
You did quite a bit of sidewalk this past year, didn't you?
Not as much as
Not as
the
much?
previous year.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I could easily add it.
Well,
I mean,
you
if you
had-
take into
you had-
consideration down on Franklin.
I was just gonna say, that deal on Franklin Street took care of a lot of your time, so that right there was,
I mean, the homeowner's cost is figured, just as you had said at previous meetings, $7 per linear foot, right?
750.
$7.50?
property maintenance. The King's Daughters and the 246 Main are the same owner, and they're the majority of.
Right.
Costs her about $5,000 just for them that the village will never recover. And that's just for a few months, 5 months. It's just kind of difficult to reward bad behavior on their part. Is there any homeowner liaison that could take care of the property themselves?
The King's Daughters?
Yeah, the property owner liaison, I mean, get connections to the community. It's a lot to put
Anybody
on
would
the
want to take that
taxpayers.
undertaking on myself, that's an undertaking.
Yeah.
But $5,000 to taxpayers for 5
I
months.
totally understand. I mean, I don't know where we would go for somebody that would donate that kind of time.
I just mean a liaison to the owner, you know.
He's gone. I mean,
That's right,
It's
but
the
there-
government
but
now
there
that owns
are-
it, so I don't know where we can even go with that.
I don't think they even own it yet. 'cause
No.
it's the
No.
last
I think
time where they had me
it
go.
just went to court, that's all I know.
Right.
I don't think any decision's been made.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't know whether they charged it yet.
Also,
Probably not in a rush either.
that's over 3.5 weeks of a individual's time. That's significant.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is.
Oh,
To
yeah.
take them out of the work mix during a period of time when there's a lot of demands here in the community from people that are currently paying their taxes. That is significant.
Yeah.
And we need to take a real close look at what we do this following year. I'm not saying we do anything differently, I'm just saying we need to
I think
continually look at this.
the other thing is as well, you know, obviously when the governor came out with his zombie house legislation or his proposal, the election suddenly, I think, took priority. Well, I'm not going to say anything more than that. Got in the way, money did. And that thing died. I think we need to resurrect it with our state legislators. I think well, Kathy Young and Bill Noje need to understand this is a serious financial burden that's being
Yeah.
placed on the community. And not just a financial burden from that aspect. If you don't do it, then you got another problem. Blight.
I was just going to say, the properties involved.
They're not small properties.
If we didn't do anything, is a terrible eyesore
Mm-hmm.
for the community.
Especially the one on Main.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
What is the status of the King's Daughters with code? Do you know? Are they condemned or anything? Because they have that water very significant, right?
It's not condemned, I don't believe anybody's done anything, it's border, you know, it's secure, so.
Probably secure and it probably should be condemned, but it hasn't been.
Right. It's still litigation, right?
Should we have our...
well, they wouldn't condemn it. It would be listed as not fit for human and habitation.
Yeah.
Is that actually terminology?
Is our code enforcement taking a look at that at all?
Nope. I don't think so anyway. She's,
I don't
I
think
think
so.
out of other things with real people.
No.
There's really no point, it's kind of a, I mean, at this point, the last I knew, the owner was still in England. He was avoiding arrest. So until he's arrested, and then he's got to be prosecuted, and, you know, things downstairs take 6 to 9 months for a DWI.
Going to have to be extradited first.
He has to be extradited, so he's got to be found, arrested, extradited. You're probably looking at 3 years for prosecution. If he's found guilty, then the penalty, and the penalty, part of the penalty would be, in theory, to give up possession of the property. So I would suggest that until, once he's arrested, you're probably looking at 3 to 5 years before any resolution. And that's once he's arrested. If he doesn't get arrested for 3 to 5 years, then you're talking another 3 to 5 on top of that.
You probably have to get it quicker from the county on tax.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right, yeah. But under the circumstances, will the county take over that because of the litigation behind it?
I think they would for the taxes. I think they would just, my understanding of the taxes is they notify any and every possible person that has interest in it. And if those persons don't come forward and correct the tax issue, then they lose their interest.
Okay.
And then that gives the county the right to sell it. The county won't possess it. The the county's ownership lasts about the length of time it takes for the paper to be pushed from their side of the table to your side of the table. They sign and they quickly hope you don't have a heart attack and sign. And that's how long they own it, like 30 seconds.
And you put the 10% down.
Yes. Yeah. So even when they take it, they don't take ownership.
Yeah, right.
So. Okay. Any other questions of Scott?
Yeah, I have one other item I didn't, it's not on the agenda, so I don't know.
Thank you, Scott, for providing that.
I just received the documentation so I could order the new loaders. Is that possible we could do that tonight instead of waiting another month? And I can give you-
It's up to the board. I don't have any problem discussing it, but the decision will be the board's.
I'm basically trying to work out a guarantee, so it would be a swap without any funds from the village. And from what I see here with the, and actually I can just speak this out.
Thank you.
That number at the top has a few options at the bottom. Like the radio, I don't believe last year we paid for the radio. I think it came with it, so there's a couple items there that I'm not really sure how we'll work that out. But so it could go for about $137 if we had to add that radio and the beacon on.
What kind of radio are you talking about?
Just an AM/FM radio that they put in. But usually they come in the machines, so I don't. That's the first time that I've had it presented this way.
Is this AM, FM? We're not talking about radio stations, are we?
That's, yeah,
Why do they need one?
don't have to have one. Usually they're in there anyway, so I guess
If that's an option, I think we ought to just knock it out of there.
that's fine. So if you take that price, the only other thing, there's a electric control that he did not supply the pricing for. And I don't know, I think we can take it off our machines and add it on. But I would like to have that option to be able to purchase that and have our guys install it. They installed these. If they put it on, if I recall, it was around $1,800. It was expensive. But I just need, we could vote on that separate if we wanted. The problem is if I don't get them ordered, last year I was a month or so without them ordered because it takes so long to get them. But if you guys aren't comfortable tonight, we'll wait till next month.
I think we've done all right with them in the past. I don't see any reason why we should.
Now, if you see the contract period too at the top, it ends October 31st, 2015. So after that, we know what's going to happen. Might be the last two you'll be able to do anyways. If they don't renew this. And the talk is they might not.
This is Cat you talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe we'll go to John Deere next time or whoever, who knows.
So you're saying right now, Scott, out of the list of options, you'd want to go with the work lights?
Probably just the beacon is all.
Did you?
385.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay.
And actually, I'll look and see what it costs because it doesn't take much to put it on. I mean, if I can buy it for $200, that's what I would do.
Okay.
Put it on ourselves.
Any of this other stuff that you need?
No.
Okay.
The only other item would be the electric controller. We have to have that for the brooms, to run the brooms.
Okay.
So if we could do it, if you want to do it in two separate, dollar figures, we could do that.
Well, what would be a dollar figure on the electric controller?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, Dick, what
Okay.
we could actually purchase it for and then install it ourselves. Because that's, if it's $1,800, it's probably $800 going to those guys that put it on. And our guys are more than qualified to put it on.
Okay.
The last two.
So we don't need to vote on that tonight then?
No.
Okay.
No. No, that's a separate item.
So you're just talking about the actual purchase itself?
I just don't want to get stuck like that with that truck last time. I was $900 shy, just makes it hard.
Yeah.
When it comes time for Megan to write the check, she can't because it's the dollars, the total amount was not approved.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if we approve, say, 136.5, would, more than cover?
Okay, someone like to make a motion to that effect?
So move.
We have a motion by trustee Whitenack to approve the trade-in and purchase of, this would be the trade-in as well?
No, this would just be the purchase.
Just the
We'll
purchase
separate-
of,
Yeah.
For two.
for two at 130, not to exceed 136,500
Right.
each,
Yep.
correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, any further discussion? Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
Mayor's an aye. Okay.
Who had the second?
Trustee Labar? You made the second.
It was a silent one, but I did.
What's that?
It was-
I
it was-
did
it
too,
was-
but anyways, yeah, my intentions were to second it, so I did.
Sounded like it was a little delayed to it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Passed 4-0.
No, we're good.
Alrighty, Parks and Recreation. I mentioned last week that I had gotten a inquiry about using the church park, or parts of it, for vegetable garden. You throw that out to the board. I'm not so sure that that really needs to be the place. That this is my opinion.
I
For a
agree.
vegetable garden, we had that land down off of Gray Street that
Yeah.
it's probably got, well, it's better suited for it.
I agree. Yep.
But if there's anybody who's adamant about supporting that over here in the church park, that's willing to entertain that.
I kind of like the church park as church park.
Well, there are other events that go on over there, and the more you start chewing it up. Now, the question I think we run into is not all of that's our property
Right.
now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Right.
perpetual lease, I think is more what it is, but
Right.
it's a public park.
Yep.
So, but I think that issue's going to go away anyhow. I told the individual I would bring to the board's attention.
Like I say, like you just mentioned, the property down on Gray Street, I think would be more of a place for that.
You need to clear it off and
Was
make it easy.
pursuable.
Okay, anything else out of Parks and Recreation?
No.
Won't be too long. We'll be looking for people to volunteer for the planners again.
Right.
Okay, technology, Trustee Criley.
I have technology related to some FOIL requests that I was denied, and I would like to know what the village policy is when information is denied.
What do you mean policy?
Well, I made my FOIL request, I didn't get the information, therefore it was denied. And I'm asking how the village responds when they deny the request.
You would need to be more specific in regards to the request, and I could let you know why you didn't receive the information.
Okay, well, one thing I asked was, I'd like to receive all the information relating to New York State and Village of Dansville laws, policies, and procedures regarding the village's hiring practices. And I received a response that said the Village of Dansville does not maintain records relating to New York State and the Village of Dansville laws, policies, and procedures regarding the village's hiring practices. So there's no formal,
That's correct. I can only provide you with
there's
physical
no,
documentation that I have on file.
so there's no, protocol for hiring?
Not that I am aware of, no. Not that I was able to find.
And we don't hold anything from the state of New York, so.
As far as written documentation, I don't have anything.
Okay, then I asked for the cell phone records for September. And I just actually was given a bill that is included in the monthly bills. And I'd asked for the logs. So then several days later, I got some from Scott, well, that was forwarded, that had the logs, but I never received them for the other. You didn't give me.
I
Scott
gave
me
you
the logs,
I
but
gave you
did.
what I had on file, and then because Scott is the only employee that has access to the logs online, he gave them to the mayor, and the mayor had directed me to send them to you. So I did that. I did send them to you. But per a FOIL request, I wouldn't be able to go above and beyond and research information and gather information or create documentation for you. I can only give you what I keep on record.
If you have, but if
So
you
that was
have to
above
get
and
that,
beyond
I
what the mayor and Scott
guess I'm
did.
wondering why DPW has access to the Verizon cell phone records, but the village clerk doesn't.
I'm not sure. I would imagine
You'd
at
never
the
given it to her.
time that was possibly a board decision. I'm not sure. I wasn't
what happened.
I wasn't employed by the village at that
Yeah,
time.
I think Carrie Ann was on, and then Carrie Ann moved on. Megan just never got added. That's, so she could be added. That's not an issue.
But
No.
you gave me part of them, and you didn't give me the first yet, because the month of September spans 2 bills.
So you still don't have them all?
I don't have them all. I have part of September, but I don't have all of September. So,
I can't remember.
She has everything that you gave me.
Okay.
right, but that's only, you had said that you didn't have, you said the village of Dansville does not routinely maintain call logs for all employees, but.
And that's
the
correct.
access-
We do not.
But the access is on the internet. You could just go in every
I
month.
could not.
But you had access to get that from Scott. Right. So
Which
he
I
gave you
had found
part of
out
it.
over time, yes.
Well, we discussed it in a meeting, I know that.
Okay.
So I got part of September, but I don't have all of September.
I think I would have given you that whatever the month was, so maybe you wanted a,
I wanted all of September, which spans 2
It starts on like September 6th or 7th.
so you're missing the first few days of
I
September?
think you gave me the first part of September, and I'm missing the last part of September.
You just want all of September,
Mm-hmm.
basically?
Which spans 2 bills.
Okay.
And, and when was the drawing completed for Knox Street and received by the village? That was another thing that wasn't clear. I saw it at the meeting, but.
That's
I
when,
believe in my response to you, I did include a date that was received, as well as minutes as to when it was proved, I believe.
And you did give me some
I would have to
of
pull that back out.
some of the vouchers, and I thank you for that. But I noticed on some of the vouchers, like, there's one for $5,520, and there's only approval of payment by one board member. There's another one that's only approved by 2 board members, and that one's for $2,400. And then there's another one only approved by 2 members for $6,000. And I believe there'd have to be at least 3 people to sign vouchers. Another one's for $7,800, only signed by 2 board members.
If that's correct, I don't believe you've been in to sign this month's bills. I wouldn't be able to, unless all,
Actually, this is
the
from-
other 3 have.
This is from October, December, and actually the bill was August 14th, and then the 2 people signed off on it. Only one dated it, 12/11. So it just kind of brings up a couple other issues that, board-wise, do we pay bills without at least 3 signatures on a voucher?
well, knows we have a policy on that. And I would,
If we do, I'm not aware of it.
part of our problem is we were going to meet here as a group at 6 o'clock on department head meeting nights. We started it a couple years ago, and then nobody was coming, so I stopped doing it. And everybody was allowed to do it on their own. And then it was brought up again to we needed to be together to discuss it and all the bills and everything. We did that last month, and this month I was the only person here waiting for everybody to show up. Now I realized Rick over there was sick, but you know, if we're not going to follow what we want to do now, I don't see why we need to add more policies on top of that.
I don't know if it's a policy, just an action. Do you want to approve payment if there aren't at least a majority of the board signing off on it?
No, it's up to the board.
Significant amounts of money.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Absolutely correct.
Yeah, then, you know,
I would hope that the board has looked at the bills before they vote on the evening of the meeting, because that's what we're voting on. So it's up to the board how you want to do it. I'm all ears.
Had
I've
those-
tried to accommodate lots of people, and it doesn't seem to
That
work.
was approved at a meeting, the total cost for that project was approved.
But we didn't, did we have the total cost at the time?
Mhm.
Not on all of these, so, I mean, some of them,
It was like 24,000, and it didn't total up to 24,000
Yeah.
for what he did. They were way under. So, I mean, it really was approved
Mhm.
originally as a whole.
but when we cut the checks, it makes all of us accountable
No,
for
I'm not-
spending the amount of money.
I'm not questioning
If we
the
have at least
amount of
3 people
signatures.
that sign off.
What's the board want to do? How you want to handle these situations?
I believe there should be at least a majority of the board signatures on a voucher before it's paid. That means at least the majority of the board approves of the payment. Otherwise, why do we even sign off on it?
Well, how do you propose that we do it? Because I've offered opportunities, and I end up sitting here by myself.
You haven't been by yourself, other people have.
Not the majority of the time, Pat, I'm sorry. Majority of the time, people come in on their own and do that, and you know that very well. Unless I hear something, I guess we're going to continue to march just the way we've been. I'm not making all the decisions here. I've done enough of that already, and I seem to get in trouble anytime I do.
I
So-
actually put it out there that I would like to see the majority of the board sign off on
Yeah, but
a
how-
voucher, and there isn't any other conversation.
How do you propose we make sure that that all gets done?
Before the clerk cuts the check, if there are 3 signatures, then it has to be brought to the board's attention.
Yeah, but she cuts, most of the checks she cuts after the meetings. So you're delaying it if we don't
It's a
take
lot
care of it
money, but
before.
it's just-
The idea, here was the idea. The idea was to hold our department head meetings the week before so we could discuss issues and review the bills. And that's not getting done.
But there's been other times when, there have been typed questions regarding the bills that aren't discussed as a board either. And sometimes the answers are there and sometimes they're not. And we continue to have to ask questions. So maybe there needs to be something formal where everybody does come at a time and have your committee meetings from 6 to 7, board members reviewing bills, 7 on department head.
That's what we've been doing last 2 months. Last week, there were only 2 of us here.
Hasn't been anything formal.
Excuse me. I don't know what you would call what we've been doing if it wasn't formal. I had to notify the press that that's what we were going to be doing.
But it hasn't been consistent.
Well, I would agree with you there. That's why I stopped doing it. Because I ended up being the only person here.
Okay, I'll comment. It sounds to me, we need to establish what the policy is, first of all. So I think, that's the path forward. What do we want the policy to be? And come to an agreement on that, and then it's our responsibility to meet that policy, whatever we establish. Because in the past, it's been kind of an unwritten policy. And as far as number of signatures required, I've never known that there was a minimum. I'm not saying it's not a good idea, but this is new news to me. When I sign off on something and I come in here and we vote on it, it's because I'm of the opinion that most of the bills, because there may be one or two that slide in there, that I've seen. And I've had an opportunity to review and have a discussion if I have any questions, find any issues, etc. Oftentimes we learn by what we've done, previously, and we can only look at moving forward. And that would be my input or my suggestion, is that we need to establish a policy and firm up as far as if we want the board to review the bills on some routine, regular basis, and establish what that is and hold to it. Of course, we're functioning right now as a 4-member board. We'd be more likely to hit that 3 number if we had 5 people participating, but we don't. Now, does that relieve us from, if we establish 3? No, not at all. Just puts more of a burden on us to make sure that occurs. So, I don't think it's going to change anything where we're at today, but if you want to look forward, that's what, at least my suggestion and recommendation, what we ought to be doing.
I would say best time to do it, like we've been trying to establish, is come in at 6 o'clock on the second Wednesday of each month, go over the bills. I will be here at 6 o'clock.
I thought that's what we had discussed previously.
We had, twice.
Okay.
And everybody is here to discuss it.
All right.
We could do that, and if there's a need to go beyond the department meeting, we'd all be here, and if we want to commit to that, to stay some additional time to just get the job done, and we could do that also.
I have no problem with that either.
So I'd be agreeable to that. I'd be agreeable meeting at 5:30.
Yeah, usually it's longer than an hour.
That I know. That's why I'm saying it's. I know. And if you interject the anticipated discussion on it, it's just going to lengthen the time. But it is a start in the right direction. We could start at that point and then see where we need to go to from there.
Well, that also begs the question, if only a couple people signed off on them, then other people didn't see them, and
Right.
they aren't all pre-approved. So, I don't know. Not making any accusations or insinuations, I'm just stating the fact that people, one had only
Yeah.
one signature on it, for like $7,000.
Sometimes like I had the day when I was going through them, the paper, not the paper clips, but the staples will hook onto the one behind it. I noticed there were a couple today that everybody had signed a bunch before and a bunch after, but they missed one. I'm guessing maybe it was a staple. Or they just picked up 2 at the same time for whatever reason, didn't notice it was 2 bills.
I'm not sure that 3 is the right number. I'm not disagreeing with you, Pat. It might be.
It's a majority.
Well, why don't we all just agree or whatever action you would like us to take?
Well, we're currently in the process
Either
of...
change something officially, or can we just agree amongst ourselves as a board, because we're all adults here, that we will meet on the department meeting night? Could you be here at 5:30, Pat, or is that pushing it? How would you
I'll try.
feel? How would you feel if we start at 5:30 and if you get here a little late?
As soon as I can.
We'll accommodate as much as we can. How would that be?
That would be fine. Yep.
How would that be with you
Fine with
guys?
me.
Would that be okay?
Mhm.
Do we need to make a motion, or can we just agree to that?
We can agree to that. I mean,
I'm
that's...
fine with agreeing.
All
to
we're
it.
doing is moving it up a half hour from what we originally agreed to
Okay.
3 months ago.
I have to apologize for last Wednesday, I was sick.
Well, I
And
understand you were
and
sick.
And I did call that I was sick.
Yep, you did.
Could you pick a different day next time?
I was sick to try.
Okay. Alrighty. Anything else, Pat?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. I just had down there the website codification and records management, just as a reminder. Nothing we're going to act on tonight. Okay, under unfinished business, you should have a copy of my report, which will go to the report of examination, which will go to the court system in Albany. Say that the court records, checkbooks, all the other documentation that Sheila managed to give me went over it. I checked both ledgers, both checkbooks in total, and they all balanced out all right. And then I went through 4 months each for the two justices as far as looking at their other records. I'm confident that everything is fine. There's a lot that you have to balance when you start looking at the records, because you got there's bail and there's fines, and some of it's paid by electronic payment, others are paid by credit card. You got to sort all of that out. I only did 4 months each. I figured doing a third of the year was enough. I did one each quarter is what I did. Unless you have, I didn't find any issues in there. All my questions had to do, the Sheila had to be with exactly how does this work, because it is a rather involved process.
Yeah. Got more complicated anymore because of the credit card filing and stuff like that, so.
I'll make a motion to accept the report of examination for the Village of Dansville Justice Court for fiscal year 2013 through 14.
Okay. I have a motion by Trustee Labar. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Trustee Whitenack. Discussion? Okay. Trustee Whitenack?
Aye.
Trustee Labar?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye, and I will put that in the mail tomorrow. Send it off to Albany. Okay, you all received a copy of the MedEx contract. It was in folders last week anyway. I mean, if you had a chance to look at it, it hasn't significantly changed.
Megan, you corrected that last page, right?
We will before signing it,
Because the actual
right?
charge is 36, right?
Um, Yes. Yep. That's what we had discussed. And before signing it, we'll have them print out a,
Put on a new
print out
copy.
a new copy. Yep.
Correct the one, okay.
Yep.
a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Second by trustee LeVar. Discussion?
I'm still looking for it. There was this part at the end that they used the wrong amount, correct? And that's what you're changing?
Last page, yeah, on the, right on the back, they got
Yes.
parentheses, they got 26 versus the 36.
And then,
I wish it was 26.
You think it's 26?
No, I say I wish.
I'm going by what I think you said at the time I brought it up. He said it was 36. I'm just going by what you told me,
Yeah.
or what you stated.
I'm just saying I wish.
I understand.
Yeah.
There'll be more money in the pot for us.
Right.
Are there any questions or comments? You need more time to look at it? Okay. Trustee Whiteneck?
Aye.
Trustee LeVar?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Okay. It's that time of the year, we need to go out with an RFP for the summer rec program. The request came in from last year's operator to increase the amount to 20,500, or was it 2,500? Or 25,000, excuse me.
25,000.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's, given our deliberations and everything so far on the budget, I would be somewhat reluctant to go that high. I think we ought to say that when we go out for the RFP, that 20,000 is the cap.
Right.
I agree.
Yep.
They can offer us a program within that amount of money. See
Yep.
what we come up with. So if I could have a motion to authorize the village to go out with an ad, or I should say to go out for requesting an RFP, I'd appreciate it.
I'll make a motion to authorize the village to go out with an RFP for the summer rec program at a cost or expense to the village not to exceed $20,000.
Okay.
Second.
I have a second by trustee Whiteneck. Discussion. Okay. We'll start at the other end. Trustee Criley?
Aye.
Trustee LeVar?
Aye.
Trustee Whiteneck?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much. And we have some in your folders. You should have from TOMA, I believe it's 1, 2, 3 applications for the Community Development Block Grant Residential Rehab Program. And we just need to approve them. They've been processed through Bernie's office, and forward this on. They're pre-qualified. We just need to go through the formal request, formal approval.
Move to approve.
Right. Motion by trustee Whiteneck to approve the 3 applicants for applications for the Community Development Block Grant. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by trustee LeVar. Discussion? Okay. Trustee Whiteneck?
Aye.
Trustee LeVar?
Aye.
Trustee Criley?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Passes 4-0.
Can I just a comment?
Yes, sir.
I think we've acted on maybe 4 of these in total. Not 4 applicants, but 4 submissions or
Yes.
whatever it is.
Right.
Are we or they keeping a running total?
Of how many
Yeah.
houses we are. Yeah. We may have 10. We have 7 happened downstairs. But I can let you know.
It'd be nice just to have
I
that.
have all of the files
Just for reference.
and records right downstairs.
Last month, I think we did 2.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe name,
3 or 3.
address, and the amount of money, just to track it, that's all.
Mhm.
Real simple.
What's the cap on that, do you know?
I don't recall. What was the
Oh,
cap?
no, I don't know if there is on that one or not.
There's
Main
a
Street is 50,000, but I'm not sure about the,
Oh, it's much greater than that. I know
Total
that.
for the housing,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
believe we were approved for 400.
yeah, we were approved, but what about individual?
Oh, for the
applications.
individual, I don't know if there was a cap.
We've had a number of them that were up in the 20s. I
Yeah.
don't think of
Right.
any that were higher than that.
Right.
I'm not sure individually, but yeah, your 400 sounds, 400 or
Right.
450, whichever one it was. And of course, Toma gets a good
Good
portion
chunk
of
of
that,
it.
good chunk for administering it. A very healthy chunk.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's all.
He's a writer.
That's the way it goes. I understand that.
Okay. Anything else, Dick, on that regarding the grant?
No.
Okay. And actually, I've got this one down twice, so we can just eliminate that one. Did 3 of them like that. So I think we're... Is there any other new business that needs to come before the board?
I just wanted to ask, Trustee LeVar, during the October meeting, you asked for a copy of the CSC account. Did you receive one?
I received it electronically.
I'd like a copy of that as well, please.
Actually, we have hard copies now, don't we, Megan?
I can email it. I know Karen has some hard copies, so I can copy my book.
I think she got a whole case of them.
I'd like a hard copy.
I can ask Karen for one. Okay. All right, I will see what she has. If not, I'll just run copies
okay.
off.
And what's the status of the village registrar position?
We mentioned that once before you asked about it.
I just
We
wanted-
don't have the village registrar anymore.
Okay, it's going to remain that way then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we just turned it over to the town.
Okay.
Most places, the town does do that.
Okay. It's not good.
How we ended up with it, I have no idea, but
And they wanted to walk away from it, I think, originally, and then we...
well, I think it was because the hospital was in the village, and
Yeah,
they thought that
right.
was the better way to handle it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anything else from the board this evening?
Yes.
Yes.
I just want to get into the minutes, but I saw an email from Jerry Jackson with the new rates for
Okay.
medics,
Okay.
and have they been transmitted to medics yet?
I have the form. I have it signed. I was actually the mayor was going to pass the rates on to me. I didn't see that email. I don't think I
Okay.
was maybe included in it. But the mayor said he has them, so I have the form signed. I just need to input the rates.
Okay. Also, even though we didn't discuss it this evening, we can do it at a future meeting about the medics' monies that are potentially owed to the general account. We've discussed that in the past, and just note that maybe we all get it on the agenda for the next meeting. And then there was the 384E retirement letter.
Mm-hmm.
Did you give that to Megan?
Yes.
And you're looking into that, Megan?
The one on the police
On
retirement.
the police retirement, the letter
Right.
we
I gave it to you
received?
last week, I
Right,
think it
that
was.
letter was originally sent to me, so it must have came from me somehow to you guys. What do you want me to check into?
Well, there were
What
some
else?
things outlined in there for money owed. I guess my suggestion, recommendation would be to read through the letter and to have a discussion here with myself or with the mayor as to what follow-up, if any, is required.
Okay. At one point, I believe the date on there was October. It had probably been passed on. maybe to
It was
the
probably
mayor,
passed on, and then
via email.
I've had it for a while.
possibly. But yeah, let me go back through. I've had several correspondences with retirement over the last couple of years on the 384E. Let me go back through and find out what information I have that I can provide.
I know there was a due date in March to respond to that, and there was some reference to, depending on what approach you take, I'm being very journalistic here because I had some questions in my own mind, what the intent was in the letter, but there were situations where if you're in one retirement system that you owed X amount of money, and if you're in another one and it talked about whether or not you wanted to approve that retirement system or if you wanted to have a cutoff date. So there were a number of things that were in there that we need to follow up on.
Yeah.
At least understand it.
For the 384E, there are a couple different options. You can open it up for a year, or you can open it up permanently, and there are different rates. A couple of years ago,
we did adopt the E.
I believe it just after Officer Chapman was hired, we did open up the 384E.
Right. Yep.
Am I saying that right? For 1 year. So at this time, we don't have any officers that are not currently on that program.
We just need to understand the significance of that,
Yep, I can do that for you.
and if there's any money owed to bring them up to date in that system.
We were paying installments, I believe, on the 384E back when we decided to, well, we had contractually, we had to open it up again.
Yep.
So you'll see what we had installments and the retirement invoices that we just paid as well that reference the 384E, but I will gather some additional information.
When you read through that, it may make sense to you.
Okay, I haven't read it since
Right.
I think October.
Yeah, well, I saw the deadline, and I saw that potentially we could owe some money into the retirement system, so it got my attention.
Okay. Yep.
Was this something the entire board received?
Yes, you see the background October
I had been
timeframe.
carrying it for a while, and I was going through some papers and ran across it, and we never really did act on it. It was something that was there. We had an opportunity to look at it, but we never really discussed it. And I just thought that, I saw the deadline, I know it was quickly approaching, and I saw potentially we could owe some money, and we need to understand that. I turned my copy over, Pat, I don't have it. Okay, I don't have it in front of me.
Review mine.
Anything else?
No.
Community comment?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
let me say, I wonder if it would be possible to consider, in the structure of the function of the board, first of all, a little more equitable distribution of responsibility from the trustees for the departments. Looks to me like it's very heavy loaded with a few and not very much for others. And I wonder if the board could agree that there would be a shared responsibility and trust and confidence in the trustee overseeing an area. So that, for instance, in the matter of vouchers, that the trust, that like Pat says, you sign, you agree on the budget, and the normal process then is the department spends money within that. And there's someone, a department head, that justifies it and gets things together, but with a responsibility of a trustee who is overseeing that to personally be assured. And once the trustee is personally assured it's good, that signature and the department head signature would be okay. Maybe the mayor has to finally sign off, but what I'm saying is a distribution of the work that I don't know if it's possible that would take all of the analysis out of a meeting and give an individual responsibility for understanding the situation and being a partner with the department head in reporting it. And appreciating that in such a way that would expedite the work of the whole board. And where something comes up that looks you don't understand, then you have a total board discussion of it. But I don't know, does that make sense?
Well, it does. And in fact, I know in previous administrations that's the way it worked. When one or two of the trustees would work with a particular, I just say the liaison. And as whatever their recommendation is the way the board went.
Well, that's a matter of trust, but
But there are limits on how much a department head can spend. I mean,
oh yeah,
you can't just go buy. I'll pick on Scott here. Just go buy a dozer because he has the money in his budget.
well, no, the budget items.
But no, everyday stuff. Yeah, they pretty much have that authority right now. We have a procedure or a purchasing procedures. We take care of every year during our organizational meeting, and that outlines how much money can be spent without a certain amount
Oh
of
yeah.
levels of authority.
It's
But yeah, that's the
it's as I look at it, it's a little overwhelming for a part-time board, part-time mayor to give oversight to such a complex operation. That's the thing I've dawned on me over the last few years. And you really have to, you really are dependent upon the quality of your department heads.
absolutely.
More than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
And so selection of that is such a crucial point, and of course monitoring with close relationships and understanding the operation. I mean, it's mind-boggling, to be honest.
You figure a lot of towns are operated by people who aren't retirees.
Yeah.
And, it's department heads, the ones that take care of it. We meet a couple times a month and that's it.
Yeah, and that gets a little hairy. I don't like the county system where it seems like the administrator suggests everything and the board of supervisors automatically approve it. So that's not a happy thing. But I wonder if the board, the trustees could not be encouraged to be a little more hands-on, and like I say, a more equitable distribution of the responsibilities. Anyway, that's just a suggestion.
Well, the other thing, and I just a comment, this isn't a criticism at all, Mr. Fox, but part of the problem with equitability as far as the workload between departments go, each department's a different size.
Oh, yeah.
And their workload's entirely different, so that makes a difference in how much comes before the board.
How much work
Yeah.
the board has to do to oversee.
I mean, Scott obviously has the biggest department, and then it'll be the chief. But within those, there are peculiarities. Of course, when we talk about chief, we're talking about fire, ambulance, courts, and code as well.
But I want to say, even from the outside of the ring, my impression is that administration and function dynamics of the village is really improved. I have to say, I think you know much more about what you're doing, and you've been more purposeful in setting up procedures, but there's just no end. Codify the laws.
It doesn't end. You
never
come into the job thinking you get certain things done. It doesn't work that way.
Yep.
And they say,
And there isn't a lot of politics. I mean, if you had to deal with typical political monkey business, like at I don't know about the county, but the state or federal level, it's amazing you get anything done. Anyway, that's...
Pete, can I make a quick comment on the bills?
yeah, Brad.
Yeah. Rex Ryan will screw that. Anyway, I think what's going on with the bills, I think the way you guys, you come in on the weekends, Pat, Dick comes in, I don't know when you check with Dick, but And I think that works fine. I think a few of the bills are slipping through the cracks. I think it's the late bills that get added. What if Jess went through the bills before the meeting, like tonight's meeting, and any of them that didn't have whatever you guys decide for signatures, put them in a pile, go through them before you approve the bills quick.
Very good.
I do these bills and I see them after the fact, and they usually have the signatures on them. I think it's a few of the late ones that get thrown in, because we throw bills in after, the committee meeting.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen no matter what we do, and there are bills that need to be paid. I just put a
When
couple
we
in.
do that, though, I always make sure that I mention, at the committee meeting that we'll
Well,
still have more
But the
bills.
problem is,
But one of the, Scott, the only problem with that, one of the items that came up, the discussion on that, was that there was no interplay. When individuals come in and do it, it's all fine and dandy, but there's no interplay as far as questions go between
No, I
board
know, I
members and even, say, the department heads.
but I know there are bills that get put in late.
Oh,
that you guys
absolutely.
don't sign off because you just don't have the option or the time to do it.
Mhm.
And I think that's like the ones that you have.
So you can still do it the Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah.
Be done with it, and then whatever gets in at the last minute can be put before the board.
But I don't think it'd be Jess or whoever the clerk is could take a look at it and make sure that proper signatures are on them. That would be.
Yeah, that's no issue. Just let us know how many signatures and we'll pull the rest out.
Those are just a few that were sent to me, and just
But the
those
ones-
few, all of those were
Right, but-
missing at least 3 signatures.
Anything else?
I got one for Scott. Scott, are you guys still picking up the Christmas trees?
Yep.
Okay, because I know I've seen a couple around, and they're all at, I don't know, what do you call
Well,
it?
yeah, I'm going to have
At
them.
the park.
They were supposed to be removed at the last committee meeting. There was a fellow that was going to take the trees
Okay.
for feed for some animals.
Oh, I thought
Well,
maybe
they're still
Farrell-
laying.
Yeah, they're still down there. I thought
So
maybe
we'll grind
Farrell's,
them.
that's what I thought Farrell's was coming to do, and I thought, yeah, that's late.
I held off. I was hoping that guy would take them.
Yeah, just move
But
on.
true. So we'll get them taken care of probably this
Okay.
week. Drummed up.
Anything else?
No, that's it. That's the only 2 things I had.
If there is nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by trustee Whitenack, second.
Second.
And by trustee Labar. All in favor?
Aye.
But it was
Opposed?
a guy who had.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.